Welcome to the UK's first metal detection podcast. It's All Metal Mode UK with your host from across the pond, Mr. Michael Hare.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike here, and you're listening to the All Metal Mode UK podcast. Thank you for joining us. As you know, tonight is a big night. We're giving away a Rutus Alter 71. Yeah, so please check out All Metal Mode Podcast UK on Facebook. Leave us feedback, suggest guests. This is your podcast, so tell us how you want us to make it better. I just added a few articles pertaining to the Rutus Alter 71. If you'd like to read more of my articles, go to allmetalmode.com. In the navigation bar, you will see articles. I have reviews, tips, blah, 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 all kinds. I think I've got something like 60 articles, started about a year and a half ago. Love doing it. Before that, I wrote for the magazines. I've had somewhere over 40 articles published in metal detecting magazines over the years. I decided to do it myself. So if you'd like, you can go out there and check out my articles. So what else was I going to say? It slipped my mind for a second, but what we're going to do is we're going to bring Dave on real quick, and he has something he would like to talk about real briefly. And so, Dave, how you doing, buddy?
I've been better, Mike. How are you?
Yes, sir. I know you have, and I sure hope things get better.
Yeah, well, basically, we've hit a bit of a glitch this week, myself and Luke at the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. Something's transpired, which unfortunately I can't discuss currently. And through technical reasons, we've had to, we've lost the entire Archaeology and Metal Detecting News website. We've managed to keep going with Facebook and Twitter to a degree. But in short, we've lost the website, and it's got to take a bit of a couple of days for me to rebuild it. I've actually got I've got it all up now in front of me while I speak to you, because I'm doing it as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but I'll be back on it in a minute. So I just want to thank everybody who has supported us over the past couple of days, yourself included, obviously, Mike. There's been a lot of people. We've had a lot of goodwill towards us and towards the magazine, which is very heartening to feel. We didn't realise the support which we had from people who we didn't realise even looked at the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. So I'd really like to thank everybody, and just let them know it is a glitch. We will be back up and running, maybe in a different capacity in some areas, but we have a lot of new features that we are bringing forward because of what's transpired. So we've got a lot of new things that will help the evolution of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine and take us towards the next year and further on. So from myself and Luke, I would like to, again, thank everybody. It's very heartening. We talk about the Archaeology and Metal Detecting. Well, we talk about the metal detecting community a lot, and how close it is, and how everybody does come out. I mean, we've seen it with Gary Cook's fundraising event not long ago. We've seen it at other events. You see if people want me to come back, like yourself, Mike, which you'll say yes. So I will be back next week. It's just I've got a hell of a lot of work to do to be able to get the website back up and running to what we can currently. There you go. Have you lost me? Hello?
I've got you now. But
you got me now?
You dropped out for a second. I'm not sure what we missed, but I kind of caught part. We're looking forward to you back next week. You better get your stuff done, mister.
Yeah, I'll be back next week. And as I say again, I just wish to thank everybody the community has pulled together for us, and family and friends of myself and Luke, and made us appreciate that we have a lot of people who do use the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. So thank you to everybody, and we will be back after this small glitch. It may be a different capacity, but with a lot of new features that are being brought forward rapidly to be able to fulfill what we need to do now.
That's great news, and I am looking forward to it. Hey, all joking aside, if you need time, take time. I want you to come back when you can and do this with us. I love having you on. So you do what you got to do, though. We understand.
Yeah, Mike, honestly, I'll be back to normal next week.
Good.
I've had a glitch. I've took a kick in the bollocks, and I'm going to say bollocks live on air. But, don't worry. Everything will be fine. Are you drinking medicine there, then?
Who's
you drinking cough mixture? I'm loving the skeleton behind you, by the way.
You're talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not. Oh no, I'm spit. I chew tobacco. You guys don't. I don't think you guys chew tobacco over there. I've still got my my thing on. The skeleton. There's also a all metal mode metal sign a friend of mine made up somewhere behind me. I don't.
Is that the flag? Yeah, yep. I can see that.
Yep. I'm going to turn it off to slow down so I don't slow down my connection. I didn't know I was still up. Sorry about that, but no cough medicine, just spitting.
To everybody, we both appreciate everything that everybody said, all the assistance everybody's offered, and the magazine will be back up and running in some capacity very, very shortly.
Good to hear. I can't wait. Good news.
So I'll be on my way, and I'll speak to you all next week.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good show, and nice to speak to you earlier, Richard, before the show, and I will speak to you soon.
Okay, Dave. Cheers, buddy.
Take care, both.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, before we get started, I do have a few more things I want to say. I want to talk about the Rutus a little bit, and I'm going to start right off. I hope this doesn't offend Eric and Wyola. They are the owners of Rutus. This is not a huge company. Eric is not a salesman. Their specialty isn't marketing. They're not going to be jumping out of planes anytime soon with the detector. As far as I know, they're not. When I got the Rutus, right off, I started seeing features and things that were really impressive to me. One of the things I love about it is you can pull it right out of the box and start using it. But I find it so versatile. It's got any setting you'd want, not only to deal with certain ground conditions and issues you might have, but you can set it up and tune it to however you want, like the tones. You can adjust this thing out. It's limitless. I mean, it's got 120 VDI points, which we'll get into later, which is unheard of as far as I know. I guess it has been done, but it's rare to have that many VDI points. You get amazing separation. You get, I'm kind of going off on a little tangent here. My point is, I knew something was special about this detector. Yesterday, a little bit later than I wanted to, I posted my first ever podcast interview with Eric. And it was no surprise to me to find out he's a lifelong detectorist and he's an electrical engineer. So it really shows. And although they're not flashy, you're not going to see him jumping out of planes. It is a brilliant metal detector. One of the most brilliant I've ever seen. I love the features. I love that you can pull it out of the box, start using it. But if you start running into issues, which we'll talk about that later as well, there's just so many ways to change it up and adjust it for whatever conditions you're having issues with. A good example, a good friend of mine over there in the UK called me up one day through Facebook, and he was talking about a field that was just covered in coke and hot rocks. It was kicking his butt. And we bounced ideas off each other, and a few days later he went back to the field, and he sent me a picture, and his whole faceplate is covered with coins. And he was really happy. You know, just by making some really minor changes, it was running optimum in that field. I would say, without a doubt, Rutus is the most underestimated detectors on the market. If you want a top-of-the-line detector that comes in a mid-price range, Rutus is it. If you don't care about how popular they are or the fact that they haven't jumped out of a plane, I recommend the Rutus. It is a great detector. If you get one, get in touch with me. I can help you with settings, help you with it, and I guarantee you'll thank me. It is a absolutely killer detector. So I went on my rant, and I'm very passionate about Rutus, and I'm hoping I got it out enough that now I can let our guest talk some, because I am a little bit concerned tonight. I will be talking a lot. Richard, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, bud.
Good. Or were you tired of the rant? Did I put you to sleep?
No. But to be quite honest, I've read some of the stuff that you've written about the Rutus, and I listened to the interview of Alec, and I'm wondering whether or not I should be asking you about the Rutus, because it seems to me you know more about it than I do.
Well, talking to you yesterday, I picked up quite a bit as well. I mean, without a doubt. And so I think between the two of us, we'll have a fun show tonight.
Yeah, well, give it a crack.
So how long have you been detecting? Let's kind of start. I want to get kind of a baseline.
Well, it started out when I was 16 years old. I was born and brought up on a place called Canvey Island. It's in like the mouth of the River Thames, about 30 odd mile from London. And me and my mates, every waking hour was to do with fishing. We'd go up the seawall and we were fishing. And when it was low tide, we'd go up and we'd collect weights that had been caught in the rocks. Well, we worked out that there were more people losing lead weights through casting and snapping off than what there were in the rocks. So we started going out on the mud flats looking for the weights, and a lot of the weights were buried under the mud. So I badgered my mum and dad on wanting a metal detector, because I wanted to get these weights that were under the mud. Because basically we used to find the weights and go and sell them to the local tackle shop. They made money on it. They'd sell the weights on a Saturday to fishermen, and on a Monday we'd walk in there with bagfuls of weights that people had lost, and we'd get money for them, and the shop used to resell them. So I badgered them for a metal detector, and I finally bought one. And I used to go out on the mud flats with the metal detector, just looking for lead weights. That's all I was looking for. Then one day I found a silver coin. It was a 1921. I think it was 2 shillings a florin. And it was like, wow, this thing finds things other than lead weights. It hadn't even occurred to me. So, then you start trying different places to search. Well, there's a place on Canvey called Labworth Park, where there's a fair there once a year, a travelling fair. So I started doing the fairground, and the money that I found. We're talking, I was 16 years old, so we're in the early 80s. Your pocket money back then would be 25, 30 pence a week. That was your pocket money. And I was going down there and finding £2 or £3 in a day, which,
wow.
was an undreamt of amount of money. It was like somebody was throwing this money at me. It was wonderful. And that was it. I was hooked. Just finding out where other places where the fair went to, going and searching there. You jump on your bike and take your metal detector, and the depth didn't really matter, because it was a fair site. The stuff was pretty much just tied up in the grass. But it was wonderful. Used to chase a fair around. So yeah, I've been. So how long have I been detecting? 36 years.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, real quick, I'm sorry. We're also doing a contest, as you know, so I want to get that out there. Please, in the chat, hashtag Rutus with your name. If you're not a member, join All Metal Mode Podcast UK on Facebook, which is, I believe, where Luke's going to do the drawing later. I'm not sure what time we're going to do that. So get started, and yeah, good deal. So I just wanted to get that out there for people. So 36 years, wow. What detectors have you used over the years?
Oh, crikey. How long have you got? I started out.
When somebody asks me that, I'm like, oh, hold on. This is going to take a bit.
Nah, it's. I started out with the C-scope BFO 50. Now that wasn't the posh one. The posh one was the 70 because it had a meter on it. Started out with the BFO 50 as a beat frequency oscillator technology. I don't think it's used nowadays. From there, I went on to a TR series machine. Again, the transmit receive. I think that's just a predecessor of VLF. I had the Arado 120B. That was a fun machine. You had to retune that every 20 minutes or so. If the sun went in, you had to retune it. The sun came out, you had to retune it. Back in the days when you had to tune a metal detector. Other distractions took over. I suppose I returned properly into the hobby in about 1997. Bought a Minelab Sovereign, the BBS version, and then just from the Sovereign went on to the Explorer series, E-Tracks, blah blah blah. Had White's MXTs, had White's XLT. Recently, I found myself using a great deal. I've managed to get myself arthritis in my shoulders, so recently been using the Fisher F75 a lot because it was easy to use. I tried the Deus, I could not get the Deus, now we're into the Rutus, which again it's a nice light machine. It's not giving me too much aggro. I can go out, I can swing it all day long.
Right. Same here. It's a very well balanced, great, not a heavy detector. So you said you've used the F75. I'll tell you something that really, really offended me. Everybody has their opinions and everything else, but I saw a guy do a YouTube video where he wasn't impressed by the Rutus and he said it was like the F75. I personally feel like comparing it to the F75 is absurd. Would you agree?
Yeah, the F75 is very much switch on and go. If you get into a situation that the machine can't handle it, tough, you're in that situation. But the only thing really you can mess about with how many sounds you've got, but that does have a great effect on how the machine behaves. But the only thing you can do is read ground balance and adjust the sensitivity. That's about it. The routers, there's many different ways you can tweak the routers. You can swap the frequency out with the F75. You've got a frequency shift on it, but it's not actually shifting the frequency. I think it's just sort of like shifting out the harmonic of the frequency. With the routers, you're actually switching the frequency out. You can alter the reactivity of the router. There's loads of stuff you can alter.
Yeah, I think we could do a whole show on how it's different than the F75. I was so offended that this guy just kind of blew the Rutus off and said, it's kind of like an F75. No, it's nothing. Right out of the box, it's nothing like an F75. No. It is much, to me, in my opinion, a much, much better detector.
Yeah.
Yes, by far. So what drew you to the Alter 71?
It's unique, isn't it? There's not another machine out there that's like it. Okay, you can go up to the really, really expensive machines, but you got to remember we're talking about a machine that costs £600. I don't know what it retails for out in the States, but over here, it's just under £600. That's with the two coils. But you've got a machine that it's the only machine on. Well, I think it's the only machine on the market. I think. Oh, hang on, no, there's a couple of machines coming out that allow you to choose the frequency to work on. When it came out, it certainly was the only one that would allow you to choose it. It's lightweight. It's the dual. It's the only machine out there that will work in all metal mode and in discrimination at the same time. It really punches deep. What drew me to it was when you read about it. There was a lot there that was intriguing. And then when you've said, like, when you get it out of the box, you just it'll work straight out of the box. The processes that are built into it, when you buy a machine that has processes built in, the first thing that people are doing you go out and buy a Deus, it's got processes built into it, and people are going, oh, excuse me, straight away they're going onto Facebook or going onto forums. I've bought a Deus. How do I set it up? Mm-hmm. Now, you buy a Rutus, you don't need to ask somebody how to set it up. The Rutus was built by a detectorist for detectorists. Yeah, it wasn't built by a group of engineers. Eric is a detectorist, and he's passionate about the hobby. When you get the machine out of the box, the processes that are built into the machine, he's put those processes into the machine, not as that's a starting point. He's put them in as, this is a good program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can tweak the processes, no problem at all. But he's put those processes in there because those processes work, and they don't really need tweaking to take the machine out of the box and get results straight away.
Hey, real quick, let me pause you for 1 second, because I do need to tell our listeners something. Tonight's giveaway is only for the UK. So I don't know if we've put that out there. I know we have a little bit. I don't know if we put it out there enough, but it's only for the UK. I want to expand a little bit on that, about you talking about pulling it out of the box and using it. I struggled to do a review of this, my first review of this detector. And actually, now that I've used it for, extensively, I want to do a new article on it. But what I want to say is, the reason I struggled to do a review, I struggled to go in and play with it, because I was finding right out of the box, the settings were just perfect. It was really hard for me to learn it, or really get to know it, I should say, because for my particular conditions, I kept, the different conditions, there was a program already set up that I loved. And it's like, I don't even know what I would change here. Like I said, my friend ran into a problem where he was running into Hot Rocks and Coke. I don't have to deal with either of those where I'm at, but we were easily able to discuss it and come up with a couple suggestions, and he changed his Hot Rock setting, and he was just killing it. I mean, they are there. The only thing I will say that I did, and from the beginning, is I did change my tones up some. But other than that, like, I didn't know I understand how the different settings work and how they change it and how they affect it, but it's like, I don't really know how to get more performance out of this. It's performing perfect right out of the box, and that's rare with any detector. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. The only things, I prefer to work in two tones. That's me. Even the Sovereign, when I bought the Sovereign, the multi-tones in it, back in those days, 27 tones was like a hell of a lot of tones to be having. But I phoned up the dealer and said, is there any way to switch this down to two-tone? I don't like the multiple tones. Spoke to Nick at Detechnics, and he's talked to me through it on the phone. There's a dipswitch a dip switch inside that you can swap over, and that turned it into two-tone. With the Rutus, I don't like the tone, so I've got it set that the brake is at 28 for the discrimination between ferrous and non-ferrous. That's how I like to run it. But you don't have to do that. You can put the tones wherever you like on it.
Yes.
The only other thing that I change on it is the frequency. Yeah, if I'm running it in coin, to be honest, I can't even remember what the default frequency is for coin. I think it's around about 14, 15 kilohertz. I will normally knock that down to about 12 because that's where I like to run.
Yeah, coin is at 15.
It is at 15. So I like the way that coin operates, but I prefer it to operate like that on a slightly lower frequency. But that's my preference. You can do that, but there's not. If you leave it in the absolute standard program, I don't think you can really tweak it to get much more performance out of it. You just tweak it to your own tastes.
Yeah, right. I mean, exactly. I think you can run into situations where you might have to tweak it a little bit, like my friend with the hot rocks and the all the coke. But I think in most situations, you can pull it right out and go to work. And you were talking about the tones. I mean, I love the fact I can change that. However, I mean, it can be 120 tones. It can be 2-tone, 5-tone. I could make jewelry a high tone. I could make everything else low. I mean, your possibilities are endless. And what you get, okay, so there's other detectors out there where you can do similar. I've never seen a detector where you can change up the tones so much. But there are ones that have a lot of adjustability. I mean, I'm not going to name names. There was one that had a lot of adjustment in the tones, but they still all sounded like grunts. It was hard. There wasn't enough variability in the tone pitch and stuff where you get that out of this. I mean, you can make this thing sing. For the MindLab users out there, I would say that you can get a similar setup. And if you've ever used an E-Track CTX, I hear now the 800, you can get those sweet tones out of it. Those really high, it almost sings to you, I think.
Fluty.
Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with the right words, I guess, but
Neil Jones calls it the fluty sounds. It's like someone playing a flute at you when he gets up there. But yeah, you can get there. But the lovely thing about the tones on the Rutus, and it's a reason why I couldn't get on with the main reason why I couldn't get on with the Deus, is the Rutus tones are easy on the ear, whereas the XP tones, it's like a rancid old woman shouting at you. It's just horrible squawky sort of noise. I don't like it. But the Rutus, it does sing. It's got the nice tones. Like the MindLab tones are nice tones.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, no matter what you might think about the MindLab, or I'm not speaking directly to you, but I mean, our listeners out there, I don't know anybody who dislikes the MindLab tones. And personally, they have some of the best tone machines I've ever used, where the Rutus, I feel at home again, because that is one of the things I have missed with the MindLabs is that those tones, and Rutus nailed it, nailed their tones. I mean, they're not the same, but you can get that fluty sound. You can get that adjustment. There's plenty of room for adjustment in there for sure. So, hey, we have Viola is in the room tonight.
Is she?
Yes, she is. I just noticed.
We could be in trouble then.
Yep. Well, glad to see you here, Viola. So, we're kind of skipping ahead here some and talking about some stuff, but so what drew you to the Rutus? We discussed that. What do you like most about the Rutus? Can you name a few things?
You're asking me to decide which one of my children I like the most. What do you pick? Do you want to pick on the build quality? It's a good, solid machine. It's not a heavy machine, and they've got the balance just right. The nose weight on it is really it's got good nose weight. It doesn't pull your arm down. It sits there well balanced. The dual processes, no other machine does the dual processes. Yeah, how can you call that your favourite part? The build quality and the balance on it will keep you going all day. The dual processes, no other machine's got it. The ability to choose the frequency. Yeah, I don't know. What do I like most about the Rutus?
Right. I understand. It's hard.
No. I'll tell you what I like most about the Rutus. What I like most about the Rutus is that it's been designed by detectorists for detectorists. Yeah, Alec. Yes. Eric. He is a detectorist, and the machine's been built to do a job, and it's been built to do a job by somebody who knows what he wants to achieve, and he's done it. He's done it, and we keep going back to it, but he's done it so that you can do it straight out the box.
Yeah.
Another thing, the with the Rutus, if you have never ever been metal detecting before, and somebody says to you, you say to somebody, right, I want to go metal detecting. What machine should I buy? There's 2 or 3 machines that everybody comes out. It's the old standard. Oh, you ought to get this machine, or you ought to get that machine, and from there you can trade up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the Rutus you haven't got to. With the Rutus, you get it out of the box, and it's just going to work straight out of the box. You will go into a field, you will turn it on. The ground balance on it. If people out there have never used the Rutus, it's quite fantastic. You turn it on, and the machine tells you to ground balance it, and it tells you how to ground balance it. Yes. And once you've done the ground balance, then it tells you, right, now you can go detecting. It forces you to ground balance it now,
which is very important. One of the most important things to have a successful hunt.
Yeah, so you've got a machine that right from the box, somebody who's never been detecting before can get it out of the box, put it together. Get in the field, and within 2 minutes of turning it on, they can actually be detecting. Is that what I like best about it? I love that about it. Yeah. One of the things that I really do like, I don't know whether you've been told this, but there's a new version of the software coming out. And the new version of the software is coming out because Eric has listened to what people have said that they don't like, or he's listened not to what they don't like, but he's listened to their opinion and listened to what other people feel would be an improvement on the machine, and he's reacted to it. There's a new version of the software coming out. So you've bought a machine, you've been using it. The company have decided there's actually a better way of doing it by listening to people. And they've reacted to it, and they're going to make that happen on your machine. Yeah, I love that. Yes. When Minelab brought out a TTX, it was like, oh yeah, it's all we'll be doing program updates, software updates over the internet. I think they've done two updates in total, and they've never ever done another update. Well, thanks for the promises, but Rutus are actually doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing it. They're going to make it available. Is that what I like best about it? I don't know. There's lots of stuff about the Rutus that I like.
Yeah, you mentioning that, I've got to say, I'm sure others suggested it, but and we're going to get into the latest updates here soon. But one of the things I mentioned about it here, I consider myself a relic hunter, and every chance I get, I'm in fields where old houses and stuff and what we find is just heavy concentrations of iron. And I've liked that some of the other detectors out there, the other manufacturers, have come up with machines where you can, instead of disking out iron and slowing your processor speed down, and you're kind of trying to trick the machine in this heavy iron, they've added, an iron audio where you can turn down the audio. And I love that feature, and that is just something that, in our discussions, I said I would love to see that. Well, that's on this new update, and I can't wait. I'm so excited, and I think that's huge. That's huge for me. And really excited. But yeah, you're right. They listen, and that's amazing. And yeah. Boy, this is going to be a tough show. I'm talking a lot. I apologize.
Don't panic.
So, can you give us any examples of times the Rutus has really impressed you? You know, something really deep, or iron mixed in with it, or multiple targets, that kind of stuff. Do you have any good examples?
I'm afraid I haven't. It's been one of those years for me where I haven't. But I've had a bit of a life change this year, and a lifestyle change, and I haven't got out as often as I wanted to. But I suppose that in itself is something that I like about the Rutus. I can go out detecting. I don't know, beginning of the month, not get out for the rest of the month, and if get out 3 weeks later, I haven't got to get my head into it and relearn the machine. Yeah, the machine just gets on and does it. The separation on it is you get a ferrous signal next to a non-ferrous signal, and it'll separate it, no problem, virtually over the top of it, and it'll separate it. The whole machine is just, it does it impress me as a machine? Yes, but what really impresses me is the fact they've done all this for 600 quid. It's just amazing for that. You can take the machine out. You can have a nice easy wander around the field and not have to work too hard at it, not have to think too much about it. You can just lose yourself in the machine, or you can go out there, you can really get your head down, listen to what the machine's telling you, and you're going to start winkling, you're going to start picking the stuff out. It's an easy machine. The whole thing just impresses me.
Well, if you're okay with it, I want to discuss a few times the detectors really impressed me.
Yeah, sure.
So, one of the things I do when I get a new detector to learn, I go hit a trashy park and I dig. For me, that's one of the best ways to learn and see what the detector is telling you. When I first started, I was digging bottle caps left and right. It was driving me crazy. 8 in a row. I think my first 8 targets were bottle caps. All of a sudden, I get a really good signal, and the VDI is not jumping at all. I mean, it was, I want to say, this has been quite a while ago. I mean, this is last year. I want to say it was somewhere in the middle 80s, like 85, just 85. And I dig it, and it's a penny. Then I get, I think it was a 93, and it's a dime. And what I was realizing, those bottle caps were jumping 10 or 15, which is really common with detectors. I mean, I was getting a good tone. It's common for a lot of the detectors out there to have a kind of a jumpy VDI. And, in the very first day, I learned how to listen for look for those steady VDIs. I mean, they will hit. If I get a 107, the way I have it set up right now, and I'd actually have to look at my settings, I think I've got it set up somewhere around 14 kilohertz for the parks and stuff. When I hit 107, I would put money down that that's going to be a quarter. If I hit 93, 94, it might jump 93, 94. It's a dime. But if it's right there, 93, 94, I'm going to dig a dime. I think a penny comes in around 85. It's so steady. And go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not a big numbers person. When the screen is there, I've never ever been one for actually looking at numbers. I use my ears, but the one thing that I really do, I don't know what you'd call it. I call it a sinograph. It's like the graph thing that's on the screen, the top half of the screen, with the dotted line. And if you go over and your line's at an angle, you go over a signal, your line's at an angle. The steeper the angle, the more likely is that it's iron. The straighter it is, and it's spot on. The discrimination on the machine, it is. When that line is up, you know that is it. It's going to be a non-ferrous signal, and
Right.
there's no messing about with it. But you've got to listen out to the audio as well, and I believe this has been taken care of in the update that's coming out, because sometimes you'll get an audio signal, and the audio signal is faint, but it's there. Yeah, you can hear it, but there's no VDI. There's nothing on the VDI. There's nothing on the graph. Yeah, it's not a big enough signal. That's your deep ones. Yeah, they don't register. But I believe Eric's written into the new program that even on the fainter signals, it's going to show on the VDI. It's going to show on the graph. And his thinking behind that is, if the signal is faint and it's not going to be 100%, that the machine knows what it is 100%, then no information is better than bad information. But he's listened. People have said to him, no, even if it's bad information, we still want it. It should be showing up. So he's written that into the new software. But I love the way that it discriminates. It discriminates properly. It don't mess about.
Right. And yeah, it's masking ability is unmasking, I guess I should say, mass targets. Really impressive. I found, I can't even remember now what I found, but I had a target that I could isolate with iron and junk around it. Dug it down. It was a good target. I want to say it was a piece of jewelry, but I can't recall now. But it was like 6-7 inches down. There were nails, iron nails around it. There was some junk, like I want to say it was a pull tab or a part of a aluminum can and stuff. And I'd watched some videos before I got it, and a few different of the videos were talking about how amazing this detector is on masked targets, unmasking targets, and I have to agree. I can't say I've had a ton of targets like that, but I've had a few that it blew me away that I was able to not only pick it up, get a good signal, a good VDI. Yeah, I tend to, and I kind of want to bring this up, I tend to relic hunting. I won't even look at the screen usually. Moderate trash to low trash, I don't rely on the numbers so much, but when I'm in heavy trash at a park, we get some serious trash in our parks over here. I will rely on the numbers if I can. A lot of detectors you can't, but I've found that I really can rely on the numbers with the Rutus, and that's one of the things I love. Hey, real quick, I want to take a quick 40-second break, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no problem.
We will be right back.
The Rutus Alter 71 and the rest of the Rutus metal detector range is available in the UK exclusively through Detechnix. That's www.detechnix.co.uk. Detechnix is an established family-run business, and Laura, Nick and Luke really go the extra mile for their customers, offering fantastic personal customer service. So check out Detechnix, www.detechnix.co.uk for the Rutus metal detector range here in the UK.
All right, we're back. I had to play that real quick. I promised Luke I would. I want to say also, I was telling you about the story with the Hot Rocks and the Coke. That was Luke Higgins. I didn't use his name because I wasn't sure if he'd want me to, but he said something about it in chat. So I thought I would go ahead and mention him then. But yeah, he was a happy camper. We, like I said, we talked about some different settings and stuff, and he figured it right out and did awesome. So, And it's,
So when you when you say about unmasking, you're talking about the machine's ability to get in between the iron signals and still get the good signals in between. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, we call that winkling.
winkling.
Yeah, winkling. Yeah, we go the there's a little mollusk over here. It looks like a snail, and you have to put a pin into it and twiddle the pin to get the meat out of it when you want to eat them.
Okay.
They're called winkles. Yeah, and it's like getting into the fiddly bits is getting into the bit where you having to work at it and you got to do it properly. You got to get in between it. We call it winkling.
Winkling. I'm gonna start using that, winkling. And something else. Our last podcast, Dave and our guest kept saying, me metal detector, and so here in the United States we say my, but that's my new saying. Like with Steph, my significant other, I will. That's me, baby. Because we've got a 9-month-old baby. So I love that. So that and winkling, you can really. So can I really winkle out targets with the Rutus? Is that how I would say it?
That's exactly the right context.
You're
winkling them out.
Yeah, you can really winkle. I actually, before I even got it, I watched a video. We don't put down detectors here. Hey, they're all good. There's a lot of great manufacturers, a lot of great detectors. But I watched a video where a guy had a Deus, and he loved his Deus. And he'd hunted this small area, and then he'd come back with the Rutus, and he's just nailing targets. And he's not putting down the Deus at all, but he said, I'm not surprised. He said, this detector is so good in the iron. It's so good at getting in there and finding those mass targets and winkling them out. Yes, I used it properly. Love it.
Yeah, that's it. You're going out, you're winkling. You're winkling the good ones out from between the bad ones, and it's a great little winkling machine. The thing is well, you can be in a badly. A couple of weeks ago, this is going to sound really. You're going to love this. I was searching in the grounds of it's a 16th century. Well, the original house was 16th century. It's a manor house. The existing house was built in the early 1800s. Unfortunately enough, that a friend of a friend has bought the place. And he's going to have he's got to do a restoration on the place. He's going to have extensive work done, so he doesn't care about the gardens. He says, "Yeah, you want to come detect it? Come and detect it." So we went down there, and air pellets. The thing's pulling out air pellets that sort of like 3 or 4 inches down. That's a good trick for any machine to do. But when you you're in the gardens of a manor house. Part of the manor house burnt down in the early 1900s. So there's all sorts of detritus in the ground. There's nails everywhere. There's rust in the ground, and you're pulling air pellets out from in between it. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. That's winkling.
Yeah, it is. Personally, it's the best winkling machine I've ever used. Although the Mine Labs were slow, the E-Track and CTX slow processors, I was able to work those areas really slow and winkle out. God, I love that word. Thank you for sharing that with me. I was able to really winkle out some good targets, but I would say this does it, in my experience so far, a little bit better and a whole lot faster. Man, that thing will lock onto a target. It's lightning fast, and we'll get into that as well. So let's we touched base about you and stuff, and we've got a lot to cover. I'm sorry. I hope Dave and Luke told you we don't do short podcasts. I am not good at short. But let's start off with, we're going to talk about the Rutus now pretty exclusively, which we already have, but we did get some of your background and such. The build. What do you think about the build?
Well, I've already said it. It's solid. To be quite, the nearest I can nearest I can come to a complaint about the build quality is that the covers that are included with it, they're a bit tight. They're a bit tight to get on, and that's the worst thing you can say about it. The build quality for the machine, is spot on. It's solid. It doesn't wobble. I love the balance. Look, I've got the arthritis coming on in my shoulders. Too many motorbike accidents, so I've got, using the CTX. Jesus, I can't use a CTX now, even with a harness on. I just can't swing it. The Rutus, I can use it all day because it's very well balanced. It's not just down to the weight of the machine. It's down to the nose weight of the machine. With a machine like the Deus, you've got the coil at the front, you've got nothing behind, so there's no balance to it. All the weight of it is on the nose. With the Rutus, it's well balanced. It might have a bit more weight to it than the Deus, but it's balanced weight. And I can take that out and I can swing it all day long. You're not scared in the stubble. I don't know if you do stubble hunting there out in the States. Over here, it gets over to harvest time, and you're working on stubble. You're not scared to hit it against the stubble. You're not scared to use it to push it down. When you're digging a hole, if you should just lean on it a little bit too much, it's not going to break. The lugs aren't going to break off of the coil. Yeah, it's a good, robust machine. It's got the build quality.
Yeah, yes, one of the best build qualities I've seen. I would like to say one thing, because if somebody else seen this, just to let them know, in the picture, and I hate to say this, to me the handle looked, for some reason, when I see pictures of it on the internet and on the website, which is Rutus. Let me grab the website real quick. I meant to put that out earlier. Where did I write that down? You know what? Google Rutus and you're going to find it. But it's rutus.com.pl//en. So that's rutus.com.pl//en, and that's their website. I felt like it looked cheap, the handle, and I quickly, first thing I noticed when I opened the box, I love the handle, and everything is well built, including the handle. I just wanted to put that out there because if you've looked at the pictures and thought, oh, that handle looks flimsy or something, it's not. It's a very stout, strong detector, very well balanced. I do not have one yet, but I love the straight shaft idea. They did make the middle section, they do offer a straight shaft now, which I love a straight shaft detector, but this with the S-curve is very well balanced. It's well balanced. It's easy to swing. Looks great.
Well, the thing with the S shaft is when you follow the line of the shaft up, it follows the line of your arm. I think that's part of the reason why it's balanced up so well. But the handle, I mean, metal detector handles now. So when I started out, nobody used to wear gloves. You went metal detecting, you get in the mud with your hands, and I still do. I still don't wear gloves. Now, you design the handle for a metal detector. Do you design a skinny one so that somebody wearing neoprene gloves can get hold of it? Or do you design a fat one so that people not wearing gloves can get hold of it? Because if you've got a fat handle that's for people that aren't wearing gloves, if they're wearing neoprene gloves, that's an extra sort of like, millimetre and a half all over your hand to try and get hold of that handle. It's you're on a hiding to nothing. But the handle on that, when I first got the Rutus out, I thought the handle felt a little bit too slippy. But that was basically just a case of it's the plastic, it's come out of the mould, it's got a little bit of a lubricant on it. After half an hour or so, it's absolutely fine, no problem at all. It's a good size. The machine just works. The arm cup, I like the arm cup on it as well, because the arm cup you don't have to use a lot of machines there. You've got to use a strap. Yeah, you've got to put your arm in. I hate using straps. I really do.
Me too.
It's you're in the field. You get a signal. If you've got to lay the machine down, you've got to sort of unthread your arm from the machine. The Rutus, you don't need to use an arm strap. Yeah, you can just pick it up and it sits there. It does what it's supposed to do.
Yes, I'm with you. I hate when I have to use an arm strap because the detector's not balanced good, and I love that about the Rutus. You're right. You don't have to use an arm strap. So something I got to say real quick about the covers. You're right. I mean, I think I had friends over. We had pry bars and everything else involved getting those covers on. But once they're on, they're beautiful. And they protect everything nicely. They were well thought out. And I'll tell you something. I recently had to take mine off, and I was kind of dreading it. But they stretch out a little bit, but they don't get loose. And I like that. If you ever had a cover and it loosens up and it just kind of doesn't work anymore, no, it fits snug. I was able to put my covers back on with ease, and I was like, oh, that was just beautiful. So yeah, the first time is a little rough. You might want to, I don't know if you'd stick them out in the sun or what you could do to, but yeah, you're going to want to have a party.
No, Mike, that's unfair. That's unfair. The first time it's a bit tough. You haven't got to go smearing it with KY jelly or
no.
or a bit of talcum powder to get it. It's a little bit tough.
Yeah,
that's all.
A little tough.
It's not. There's no special measures needed. It just takes a little bit of patience to get them on. Once they're on, they're absolutely fine.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's go to the 120 VDI points. To me, that is just absolutely brilliant. You heard me talk about a dime, penny, and a quarter. Huge separation. There's one detector that was recently released. They've been known to have 50 VDI. And although I've liked some of their past detectors, I have not used the latest one. That's something I have hated. You don't get a good enough separation, and you get where targets are bleeding over, where you can't really tell what it is. And I think what I'm trying to say, Richard, I think over in the UK it's a little different. There are places here that I feel like I rely on the VDI as well. And I understand sometimes you don't, but when you're in a trashy park or at a school or a house, it's nice to have a VDI that you can rely on. And I hate, you're at a house site. You don't want to go digging a bunch of holes in these people's yard. You want to limit that. And having a steady VDI, but especially a VDI with enough separation that you really get a feel for what you're digging is really nice. I think that's brilliant, the 120 VDI points.
Well, I think that's down to the different styles of detecting. Like you say, out in the States, you're hitting house sites, but essentially you're hitting people's gardens. So yeah, you want to be sure that when you put a spade in the ground, you want to be sure that you're going to be digging the right thing. Over here, we're mainly digging on plough soil or pasture, and it really is a good, because you poor Americans. I don't know how you get by. You got like 300 years of history. Anything before that was the Indians and their stones, and we don't detect stones.
Right.
Sorry, we're not supposed to say Indians now, are we? What's the political correct bit? To anybody I offended, then I do apologise.
No, it's okay. We're
Native
all right.
Americans. That's
there
it. Native Americans. Yeah. So, but over here, you can go out. You might pick up a spear that's 3,500 years old, a bronze spear, or rather an iron spear. 2,000 year old Roman coin, and that Roman coin, it could be made out of bronze, it could be made out of silver. You're picking up hammered silver pennies. You're picking up silver pennies that are. Do you know what a millimetre is, Mike?
Yes,
because you use inches over there, don't you?
Yep.
you're picking up a hammered coin that's like 0.5 millimeter thick, and about 10 millimeters, like 3/8 of an inch diameter. That we've got such a huge range of what we're looking for. Basically, all we're interested in over here is it ferrous, is it non-ferrous?
Right.
Now, because I started detecting so far back, the whole idea of VDIs, I think this is why I don't detect by numbers. We didn't have numbers back then. We didn't even have meters. We had two knobs. We had an on-off knob, and the on-off knob was also your volume. And we had a tuning knob that if you tuned it one way, you'd be picking up metal, and if you tuned it the other way, you'd be picking up minerals. Yeah, they're incredibly basic machines. So the VDI for me is pretty much an irrelevance. But you go onto Facebook, you go onto the forums, and the younger people coming into the hobby, they'll talk about the numbers. So having 120, a scale of 120, it allows for much greater accuracy.
Right. It is accurate. For those of you in the UK who the VDI might be something of importance, it's one of the most accurate, and you've got that nice range to really get separation on targets. It's really brilliant. But and I get that. I do have places I hunt and things. Especially when I'm relic hunting, I don't care. I don't look at the VDI. When I'm field hunting, I need a detector that'll get through the iron. And I want to dig everything non-ferrous, and I'm good to go. But and I don't think you guys deal with the iron over there as much as we do in general, correct? I mean, a lot of your sites are they predate iron or concentrations of iron, right?
Well, if it predates iron, okay, we're in the Bronze Age. But no, you get onto a site of occupation. No, you're dealing with the iron.
Are you? Well, I mean, well, okay. No, I get that. I'm not even saying pre-iron. What I'm getting at, so I'm from Ohio, and sometimes I've stumbled onto some of the earliest settlements, our house, and there's very little iron because although it was available, it wasn't feasible so much. But I mean, when I get into an 1870s site or 1850s where iron was heavily used and Ohio was set up, I mean, you could take a shovelful of where this house sit and 20, 30 nails be in it. I don't think you guys necessarily deal with it in the concentrations we overall do. No?
Yeah. Okay. So if we go to a site in the UK and there's a house on there that might date back to the 1830s, 1840s, but that house is that house is now gone. You can almost guarantee that on that site there was another house before that 1830s house, and the house that was on there before, there was probably a house on there before that as well, because sites of occupations get used and reused. I've got sites over in North Essex that the Rutus is great on it because you can go on there, you can go winkling. If you went over there with I'm not going to mention any particular machine, but something with a big coil on it, you're not going to find anything because you just can't. There's programs on this machine with the big coil that you can knock it down to two-tone, and you can, to an extent, get in between the signals. But the coil's too big, the machine's too slow. You take the Rutus over there, and you can get in between it. That house disappeared. The one I'm thinking about disappeared, I think, in the 1940s. No, it was the 1950s because it was used in the Second World War to house servicemen. The original house that was built there was built in the late 17th century, but there was another house there beforehand. You can't go outside. No, there's iron everywhere, mate.
Okay,
there really is.
Well, I guess, talking to some people, you know, obviously I'm not over there. I've never been over there, which I hope to change at some point, big time. But, you know, I've talked to a lot of people that'll hunt fields all day and they'll get 20 signals, you know. They're not running into a lot of iron. If we hunt a site here where there was a house or something, I don't care how long ago it was, what you find is just iron everywhere. I mean, literally the footprint of that house out 20, 30 yards, you can take a shovelful and pull out 20, 30 nails, and sometimes bigger iron and everything else. I just kind of understood that a little bit different, and I apologize for that.
No, it's cool. It's cool. There are sites like that over here, but you generally find that whereas in America those sites fall into disuse, over here they get built on and built on and built on. So if there was a house in the 1860s, there's probably still going to be a house on there today. It's we've got deserted medieval villages. You can go onto that. You've got the Roman sites. You can get onto those. Excuse me. I've got a horrible cold and my drugs are running out. Yeah, you can get onto those. But the homestead sites from the 1800s, generally those sites are still in use now.
Okay.
Yeah, they've still got houses on them.
Okay. So let's get into reaction and masking. Do you mess with that much?
I've not really needed to.
Okay.
You're saying about a site that Luke had with lots of hot rocks on. I've not encountered that.
Reaction and masking, how it pretty much, reaction is how fast, and so you can make this thing, you could put two targets on the ground and you could set it up with reaction to where it sounds like a machine gun going off as you swing over them. And I've heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, but if it's true, I love it. I've heard that somebody had asked Eric why he did that. Why does reaction go up so high? And I was told by another person, I did not hear this from Eric, that he did it for bragging rights. And that would so make sense, because the reaction goes up to, I believe, 8. And like, I don't know how I would use it past 5. I mean, maybe there's a situation I would, but even at 4, I think most of the time I've had sites where there's so much going on, I've turned it down to 3, and I think even 2. I mean, it is probably as fast as your any machine out there in 3, I would guess. Darn near any machine out there. It is fast. I mean, that thing is incredible. Luke did a video. They put a bunch of targets down, and I think they put some iron down as well. And that thing's just going. I mean, you can't even hear it hitting. He's swinging that thing so fast. And people often ask, I've heard people when videos like that arise on any particular machine, why would you want to swing that fast? That's not the point. It's not about swinging that fast. You don't swing that fast, obviously, but what it's showing you is how quick it'll pick up a target.
The separation.
Yeah, it's showing you the separation. No, you don't swing it that fast, but it'll definitely pick it up.
I don't know. I've seen some people swing that fast.
No, yeah, I have.
Rallies over here, and you get the guys that, they're swinging, and at the end of each swing, the detector's like, 1.5 foot, 2 foot in the air. They're swinging it, rather than going in an arc around themselves, they're swinging a straight line and just, oh God, they're quite amazing. And you see people swing that fast. The Rutus ain't going to care. The Rutus will just do it. You want to swing that fast, and the machine can handle it.
Yes, not that I would ever recommend it, but what it's showing you, you have nails. You got a good target mixed in with nails and other targets. It's got the ability to
winkle.
To winkle. Yes, I love that word. Reaction, reaction goes up to 8. I think masking goes up to 6, if I'm not mistaken. But what that's doing, how masking works is, like let's say I'm at a really trashy park here in the U.S. I can turn my masking up, my reaction down a little bit, and I'll get less falsing. I don't care what detector you're using. You're going to get some falsing. You're going to get some hits. And it just, I would say, the best way I think I could describe it is it'll, I just had it and I lost it. It'll clean up those unwanted signals. It'll kind of clean up your tones and stuff a little bit. And I really like that. But yeah, reaction is absurd on this detector. I mean, you can set that thing up to crazy speeds.
I've seen Luke's video. I defy anybody to watch that video and not be impressed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. The ID graph, we talked about that a little bit and how much you like that. I do as well. I think that's something that's given us a little more information than straight up and down or bent. I mean, I've dug some targets at depth that it gets a little wiggly, and it's still a good target. When that thing spreads out across the screen, I can guarantee you not to dig it.
Yeah, just walk away.
Yeah, walk away. But I love that it gives you another glance at the target. It's giving you one more. It's giving you. Go ahead.
It's got 3 ways of showing discrimination. You got the VDI. Okay, I don't use it. You love it, so that suits you. The graph, I love the graph. The way it's so accurate in what it does. But you've got the audio as well. And yeah, like you say, sometimes you'll get a signal where it might go off at an angle, but you've got a solid audio on it. And you know that it's only going off at a little angle. Whether the numbers are stable or not, I don't know. I don't look at them, but the audio is absolutely stable. So it's off at a little angle. It's a deep one. Let's have a dig. Mm-hmm. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's worth that dig.
Yes, absolutely. It really gives you that extra. It provides you an extra tool to decide whether you want to dig it or not, and I think it's a very useful tool. Volume gain, I'm guessing this doesn't really affect you, but if any of you in the UK are, if you ever hunt old parks, schools, house sites, whatever, especially where things are layered. Over here, we often get layering. You got your modern trash up top. You might at like a park, an old park, you might get some trash down deeper, but a lot of times what the park hunters and people hunting those kind of sites are doing, we want to hear the targets. We're going for the deeper targets. And what you can do with the volume gain is turn that volume gain down, and it gives you another way to determine depth. So when you're walking along and it's just you're at a park that is littered with trash and it's you listen. Your first indication, or for me, is that fainter target, and the volume gain lets you do that. And there are some detectors out there that have used that, and people have used it very successfully, especially here in the United States, where you do have that. You're looking for those deeper targets. You want to make them a little fainter. It doesn't affect your sensitivity or anything. It's just adjusting your audio. And I really like that. Matter of fact, somebody a friend of mine just bought one of those detectors I was telling you about that's newer. And he really likes it, but one of the things he misses is they did away with their volume gain. And he said, I hate that. I struggle now in these trashy places at listening for those faint signals. And the workaround he has, and I don't have the heart to tell him, I can almost guarantee he's missing something. He has to turn his workaround has been is to turn his sensitivity way down, and he's still getting good depth. I'm not one to run a detector unstable, but I do like to run it up there at the top of the sensitivity, no matter what side I'm at. And so he's not able to do that and really pick through the trash and find the deeper signals without lowering his sensitivity. We talked about tones and the unlimited possibilities. Do you have anything you want to add to that or discuss? Or
well, what you were saying about the volume gain, I've always referred to it as signal gain rather than volume gain. It's you can crank the gain up so that the deeper signals are more prominent. But what's going to happen with the new iron volume that Eric's built into it? That's going to make it. I think that might be. I wouldn't say it's going to be a game changer, but it's going to give a new dimension to your park hunting, because where you're going over and you've got the signal with the iron on the top, you're going to be able to turn that down. So those fainter, deeper signals, they're going to be easier to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be quite interesting.
And probably another way that you guys could use that is when you're looking for, when you're hunting fields that don't have a lot going on in them. I know I do when I'm hunting an area that doesn't give up a lot of signals. I kind of will start to lose a little concentration, and there's a chance you could miss that deep, faint signal.
Yeah.
Turn your gain up. Turn your gain up, and it's going to scream at you then. You're not going to just hear a little whisper.
Well, generally, that's what we do over here anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people that they like to have their gain, set down. The CTX had it, the E-Track had it, all the MindLab machines have had it. But generally, we'd run it with a higher gain so that the deeper signals do come through.
Yes.
Because you got to remember that over here you'll have 1,000 years worth of crap in the upper layer, but then just sitting on top of the plough pan, there could be a hammered. You want to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Something I didn't even put down is the threshold. I love a threshold detector.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of people, a lot of our listeners probably have never even had a detector. A lot of detectors seem like they're going away from the threshold, and a lot of people out there probably have never used a detector with a threshold. A threshold is the best way I can explain it. Whether you're running discrimination, if you want to run discrimination, whatever, that threshold will still let you know what's going on in the ground. When you're in a lot of iron and you want to disc out iron because you don't want to hear it all, that threshold will let you know that there's a lot of iron here. And as you know, your sweep speed should change to what's in the ground and what all the detector has to process. I mean, am I explaining that correctly, do you think?
Yeah. The only part, the only damaging part is if you run the threshold too high.
Yes.
Because if you're on the threshold too high, the smaller signals, you are going to miss them. I think the easiest way to explain threshold is use engineering terms. Basically, if you've got a spring has got a compression rate. If you put compressors on the spring, you wind that spring down, so it's got a preload of say 10 pound. Then anything under 10 pound isn't going to move that spring. It's got to be 10 pound or over for that spring to start compressing further, and that's threshold. If you've got your threshold set at, I don't know, let's just pick 10. You've got your threshold set at 10. Any signal that comes in under 10, you're not going to hear it because it's not a big enough signal to break through. So the threshold should only be set so you can just about hear it.
Yes.
Yeah, then the small signals are going to come through. Set your threshold too high, and you're going to miss the smaller stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to.
Threshold's very, very useful for hearing what's going in the ground.
Yes.
But if it's not set correctly, it can be very damaging.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's with any detector. You want to run any metal detector with a threshold, you want to run that threshold to where I like it just barely audible. I like to be able to, when I'm swinging, even in open ground, you don't even hear it, and then until there's a break in the threshold. You want to run that super low. Real quick, I want to remind everybody we're getting close to the drawing. If you haven't done it yet, please get in chat, put hashtag Rutus and your name to be entered. We're going to be doing that real soon, and I want to thank Eric and Wyola from Rutus Metal Detectors. Again, please check them out at rutus.com.pl/en, or you can just Google Rutus. You're going to find it. They're all over the place. And I would like to thank Detechnics for shipping it out. They will be shipping it out. So, and I might be speaking incorrectly. I think they're part of the giveaway. I'm not certain on that, but we want to thank Detechnics as well. Good deal. So in the background, Luke is, hey, don't forget this, don't forget that. Luke is a big fan, and I'm like, I'll get to it, Luke. I'll get to it. So next, he wants to talk about the tones, and or I'm sorry, not the tones, the frequencies, and I think there's probably maybe some misconceptions here, because I had some misconceptions. So I'd like to get into this a little bit. So you can adjust it from 4.4 kilohertz to 18.4 kilohertz by increments of 0.2, and which is just incredible. So do you want to touch on this? Do you got anything you want to say about that? Or do you want me to go first, or how do you want to handle it?
I don't know. I mean, basically, to go anywhere with this, you've got to have a basic knowledge of what can be achieved with the frequencies. The higher the frequency, the more sensitive the machine's going to be to smaller finds. But you lose depth. So you're 18.4. For us, we're going to be hitting the air rifle pellets. We're going to be hitting the cut quarters. We're going to be hitting the farthings. 18.4 is brilliantly suited to hitting small stuff. You go down to 4.4, you're going to get fantastic depth. You're going to get much. The 4.4 kilohertz will punch its way down through the ground, but it's not so sensitive to the smaller stuff. So it's knowing the site that you're on. It's knowing what it is you're looking for. Earlier on, I said that I like to search around about the 12 kilohertz, 12, 13 kilohertz. I like it around there. I think it's a good medium frequency. You're getting good depth. When it gets to stuff like air rifle pellets, I don't want to dig them. I really don't. I go out digging. I don't want to. I just don't want to dig air rifle pellets. It's as simple as that. I don't want to dig single shots. So the fact that I'm gonna miss them, I'm not overly worried. You're still at 12, 13 kilohertz. You're still going to hit cut quarters. You're still, the shallower cut quarters. You're still going to hit the little hammered farthings. But it's a nice medium. It gives you good depth, and it gives you an acceptable level of sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the misunderstandings I had or didn't understand is, why is it adjustable by 0.2? And, most detectors, even multiple frequencies, they offer so many frequencies, and that's it. So I was a little confused, and when I was talking to Eric about it, the reason, so let's say, I mean, how many ranges in your mind does it have? I think that's really hard to to say like 4 to, I mean, what, every 2 kilohertz is a range maybe where you're going to see some difference, like 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. I mean, that's kind of, or maybe it's 3 kilohertz difference where you start to see a little difference.
I don't know. What's Eric got to say about that?
Well, what Eric was saying was the reason it's adjustable by 0.2 is if you run into EMI interference. So let's say,
of course, yeah.
Let's say you want to run around. What did you say? 14? Is that what you were saying?
I like to run about 12, 13 around there.
Okay, 12 or 13. You said somewhere about in there, and I'm with you. I think that's good, and we're getting some other people in the chat telling us what they run. I think they run some good areas. So let's say you go somewhere and there's some EMI issues and you want to run at 12. And so, but you're having EMI problems. Now you can go to 12.2, 12.4, 11.8. You can fine tune that if you're having issues with EMI and still stay real tight in that range of where you want to hunt. And I think that is brilliant. But I will also say this. I have yet to run into a problem with EMI with the detector. This isn't like some of those detectors. I had one years ago. Everybody said it was a great relic machine. I'm telling you, if there was EMI within 20 miles or a foam pole, that thing would just go crazy. Not 20 miles, I'm exaggerating. But it would just, if a site was close to the road and there was electric lines, forget it. You had to be 100 yards or more away from that stuff. I've been right under foam poles, and I've been right under stadium lights with it and near transformers, and I have yet to have any EMI issues with the Rutus. So I'm sure that there are situations and areas where that is really handy. I have yet to find a frequency where I have an issue with EMI, which is awesome. Because if you've ever had a detector that struggles with EMI, it can be a real pain. I was not even that long ago, I was working in this stadium. There's stadium lights surrounding this whole baseball field. And I'm hunting and I'm digging up stuff. And all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, that one detector I had out here, I couldn't even get close to the stadium, let alone in the middle of all of it. And the Rutus was just running as stable as can be. No issues. So I wouldn't want anybody to think that you're going to struggle with EMI. But if you do, that's what that fine tuning is for. And I love that.
Well, over here, Mike, we've got situations where you say about you've been under telegraph lines. That's fine. I mean, I don't know what voltage a telegraph line runs at, but we could be in a field with overhead power lines running 30,000, 40,000 volts above our heads. Now that's a whole different ball game. Mm-hmm. We could be in a field that's got an electric fence running all around it. So you're literally surrounded by pulsing EMI. So we've got a use for that over here.
Mm-hmm. Justin Cornelius is in the chat a lot, and he's been adding some good information. Another guy, I didn't catch him. Well, I lost him, but Justin's saying I can detect easily under power lines and stuff, and I've hunted right under the power lines, no issues. So it's just a brilliant metal detector. Where are we at now? Okay, so coils. I wanted to talk a little bit about coils. One of the things that they offer is 2 concentric coils, and if you ever listen to the All Metal Mode show that I do in the United States, I will often bring up concentric coils because I love concentric coils. They're kind of old school. Everybody's kind of going to double D coils. Do you like concentric coils at all?
No, I'm double D.
Are you double D?
Yeah, I'm double D.
I have found in our heavily iron saturated areas when I'm really cutting, concentric coils just seem to handle the iron better That's where I really like a concentric. Don't get me wrong, I love double D coils as well. I think they handle the trash better. I think, there's a lot of stuff. Real quick, so we are done with the names. Everybody, hope you're in. Luke is getting ready to go live. If you want to check it out, he will be on All Metal Mode Podcast UK on the Facebook group. Luke also put up a link to I have trouble with that. Detechnix.co.uk if you're interested in a Rutus, great metal detector. Highly recommended by me. What about you?
Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't hesitate.
What about you? Do you like how I said
that? Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I've also got no hesitation in recommending Detechnix either. Dealt with them for, crikey, 20 years. Never, ever had a problem with them. The service has always been spot on. Laura, well, Laura's just an absolute star. She really is. Viola and Eric couldn't have chosen a better partner. They really couldn't.
Good. That's good to hear. So back on the coils, we'll get back with you soon on the on the outcome of the contest, but you can go watch it live if you would. Again, All Metal Mode Podcast UK on Facebook, and but if not, we'll have these guys announce the results, and hopefully he'll give them to me to announce on the show. But if not, it'll be in the live chat. So hopefully somebody. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mike. You keep saying about the live chat. I've got absolutely no idea where this live chat is. Whereabouts can't find it.
Oh, I apologize. If you go to the show, do you know how to get there to Spreaker? And
I'm on Spreaker now.
Okay, there should be a little bubble.
A little bubble.
Are you on your computer?
I am, yeah.
Okay, there should be like a little cloud, a little bubble, and you click on that. Like on my screen up top, it says the show's Rutus Alter 71, All Metal Mode UK. There's 10 likes. People hit the love button that they love the show, and then there's 702. Do you see that? The 702?
No.
That little bubble?
No, not at all.
You might have to sign up for an account, which is free and easy to do it. Somebody recently told me that. Okay, we've got
I'll just signed up.
Yeah, we have a winner, and it is Lynn Miller. Lynn McNeil. So sorry, Lynn McNeil. So, congratulations, Lynn. Awesome. That's huge.
So, right. So now I've signed up for Spreaker, and I've lost the All Metal Mode.
Dean Stanton said you can see the chat even if you're not signed in. So somewhere there should have been a little. It looks like a little cloud with a little, almost like a bubble cloud, that they put above comics and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Now, Lynn, what we didn't tell you was you have to keep in touch with us all the time and tell us all the great stuff about the metal detector. And I'm kidding, but hey, I would love to hear from you and what you think and how you get along with it. I'm sure you'll love it. It is a superb metal detector, without a doubt. One of my all-time favorites. Somebody said, Lucky Lynn, they call her. Well, congratulations. Somebody said, yeah, the cloud is under in his screen in the smaller pop-up. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, at the bottom, do you have a little black screen that shows like the play button, the pause? Do you see that little chat bubble? Okay, there we go. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that.
Richard, I apologize. I should have told you that before the show and ran over that with you. And okay, good. So we're set. That is my fault, and I apologize for that. So back on the coils. I know they offer a 28 centimeter, which I think comes out to around 11 inches, if I'm not mistaken.
I've got a tape measure next to me.
And
28 is 11 inches, yeah.
And 23, I think, somewhere around 9, correct?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And 23 concentric, which is 9, and then a 12 centimeter, which would probably be what, around 6? 5, 6, 6?
4 3/4.
Whoa, 4 3/4. Ooh, I
4
bet that thing.
3/4 inch. Now that's going to be a Winkling coil, that is.
Yeah, that's a Winkler there. They should nickname that to Winkler. I love that. I'm so glad to have you on. I learned Winkler and great information on the Rutus. And then I think it is definitely worth mentioning, now I got to say that's a really good range of coils. That's going to do about anything that I want to do. But our Mars MD also offers 2 coils, and that's the 13x13 and a 6x10. I believe they call that 6x10 a sniper coil even. So definitely have some nice coil options, which I think is always important. But I love that Rutus is doing a 2 concentric. My years of experience in the heavy iron, they seem to pull it off a little better in the iron.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. I got the concentric out. I put it on. I tried it. After 20 minutes, I put the DD back on. I suppose I've just got addicted to DD coils.
Mm. Well, I think in most situations they're better. Now they say. I've always felt like, and I've heard that a concentric will go, let's say you have a 9-inch concentric and a 9-inch double D, the 9-inch concentric technically should go deeper. And I have found that as well. And to me, they just handle the saturated iron better. Those sites that are just saturated in iron, I tend to run more stable. I tend to sneak more out with a concentric coil. You do need to overlap more. They do go down in a cone shape. They get narrower as they go down, but they are wonderful coils, I think. But let's see. I think we're going to end on the newest updates, and you know a lot more about this than me. I know you talked to Eric, correct?
Yeah. I had a little chat with him about him. Yeah, the VDIs that you're very fond of, they're changing. Rather than the 120, it's going to go from -90 to +90. I'm sorry, my throat is starting to go now.
Yeah, mine's kind of going too. My throat's a little dry, but no apologies. Been a long show.
No, I've had I've got a cold coming on. I've drugged myself up to the eyeballs just to, but it's starting to take its toll. So he's gone. He's changed it over from -90 to +90. Now, all these changes that they're making are all as a result of people saying, "Yeah, we like it, but we think this will make it better."
Uh-huh.
So he's listened to that, and
hey,
it's
real
great.
quick,
Yeah.
Richard, let me pause you real quick. I might have misunderstood you. Did you say they're changing it to -90 to +90, or okay? But I think you can still do 1 to 120, correct? Or no?
I can't comment on that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Viola's online. Perhaps you can help us out with that. But basically, the reason why he's done that is to make. He said that's to make the transition from other machines where people are more used to having that range, to make it easier. Yeah, so
Okay, yeah, he
there you go.
Viola's,
Viola's come back. It's optional.
yeah, I like that. I like that there's an option. Hold on, real quick. Jaco said, "I thought the VDI is an optional function." I don't know what you mean by that. It's not an optional function. Now you can change it, but maybe you got it confused when we were talking about the audio or something. I'm not sure what he's. I mean, I don't know any detector that you can turn the VDI off. So I'm understanding something. I'm misunderstanding something here, but yeah, you can. Okay, yeah, you can switch it. Okay, I get. Yeah, I see what he was saying. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's cool. The other thing that they're changing slightly the way the ground balance works, because there's a worry that when you're doing the ground balance, you could be doing the ground balance over a piece of metal, in which case your ground balance isn't going to be accurate for when you're actually detecting. So in the UK, when we do the ground balance, we're expecting the number to come up in the mid to high 80s. I don't know what your ground composition is out in the States, so I don't know what you'd expect your ground balance to be. A little lower. Okay, so basically what they've done is they've added an audio indication of how reliable the ground balance is. So once you've done the ground balance, it tells you to pull the trigger to detect. It's going to give you either three tones going beep beep beep, 2 tones, or it will give you a grunt. If it gives you 3 tones, it's got high confidence that your ground balance is cool. It gives you 2 tones. It's confident, but maybe you should do it again. If it gives you a grunt, do your ground balance again. Yeah, the ground balance didn't take. So that's cool. It makes it a lot easier for people to doing the ground balance on the Alter. It really is simple. The machine tells you how to, but now it's going to tell you whether the ground balance has been successful or not. And it's going to agree of how successful the ground balance has been. It just makes it a little bit easier for people that aren't that familiar with the machine. A great idea. With the wireless capability, the machine can be used with a wireless module. So the wireless on the Rutus has always been that whatever the settings are in a program, that is the settings that will affect the wireless. So they've separated that. So if you go from one program to another program, it's not going to affect the settings. Sorry, my throat is really going. It's not going to affect the settings for the wireless. Your wireless will stay at whatever settings you put it at. Yeah, so it's just listening and just making a little tweak that's going to make a bit of difference. We covered the iron volume earlier. Oh, the really lovely thing now, they're going to add 4 program slots. Yeah, so 4 programmable slots.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Go ahead.
So you've got your deep, your extra deep, your fast, your coins, your basic. If you go into coins and you make a few changes to the coins program to make it better suit you, rather than having the coins program now being out of the original coins and into yours, now you can just save it off. So you've got the original coins program and you've got program 1, which is your modified coins program, and you can do that to any of the programs.
Yes, that is.
You can save 4 of them.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And now, like he said, the iron volume we discussed earlier, that is a great feature. Instead of running discs so you don't have to listen to all that iron, now you can just turn the volume on the iron down. I don't know if you can turn it off. Something I wanted to ask Viola, but just I don't want to turn it off. I want to turn it down so iron's not just blasting in my ear every second. So that's a really just a great feature in my book. And one of the things I wanted to comment on, you were talking about the ground balancing and how that's changed. It's really never been a problem. What I always do is I just click my toggle. I toggle through, hunt, for a minute, find that clean ground, and then I ground balance. But it does, the before this update, it automatically, when you turn the machine on, it went straight to ground balance, and you just had to click through the trigger. But I like that they did that. That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, but for me, the point on it, Mike, is that you, as an experienced detectorist, to go and find a big ground, and then do your ground balance properly. This is making it easier for people that just pick the machine up. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes it even more user friendly.
Yeah, when you start out detecting, you're always questioning, are you doing it properly? Have you got the settings right? This machine is now going to tell you, yes, you've done it right.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now,
that's cool.
the negative 90 to 90, I am guessing is anything negative is going to be iron, I would assume.
Well, I didn't get a complete handle on it. You got to understand that I haven't used the new update.
Mm-hmm.
This is just from a conversation with Eric. He said that when he's out in Poland and he's working on the archaeological digs, sometimes they're looking for ceramic. Yeah, so you're not just looking for the metal, you're also looking for ceramic. Now, apparently, I've got to stress, in some cases, having the minus 90 on it will allow you to find ceramics as well.
Really?
Yeah, and he tried to explain to me there's another material, but he didn't have the English words for it, so I'm not sure what the material is. He said that on some of the archaeological digs, they're looking for that material, and the machine will find that material as well. He said it's not brick, it's not tile, it's something similar. Yeah,
I gotcha.
Apparently, by using the minus 90 plus 90, he's going to be able to do that.
I'm wondering if here in the United States, I like to dig some iron, but most detectors just kind of lump iron together with their VDI and their tone. Nobody's really into iron, but there are some amazing iron artifacts even here in the United States that get found, and most often they're by chance. But I'm wondering if that, let's say the negative 90, those numbers are iron based. I wonder if that'll let me kind of discriminate out some of the little pieces of iron, little junk iron, and find some of the other stuff I'm looking for.
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
I'm curious.
There's a guy out in Croatia. Croatia's a lovely place to search. The sites out there, you can walk across a field, and some of the fields out there are massive. They're on par with the size of the American fields. You can walk across a field and find absolutely nothing, and then you get to one small area of the field that's quite productive. And this guy in Croatia, just as an experiment, he decided to go out and dig absolutely everything, and he was shocked at what he'd been discriminating out with the iron. So it's got a use in it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even here, I imagine over there, you guys probably have some amazing iron in the ground. But we do too. I mean, I've seen some really nice iron artifacts come out, and I'd love a detector that can work the iron a little bit better and kind of give me a little bit better idea of what kind of iron I'm looking at, because there's really no difference between excuse me, my throat's getting funky too. I apologize. Not much difference between a nail and say a plate, 4 inches by 4 inches. It just sounds like iron, and you really, you don't see big jump in that. That's really curious. While we were talking about this, something I wanted to say. When I first got the detector, one of my concerns was being made in Poland, and the fact that I can almost guarantee the conditions and what they're looking for in Poland is not the same as the United States. Probably even different than what you guys are doing in the UK. And those worries quickly vanished when I used this detector. I feel like you could take it on any continent and use it successfully. I was also worried about the language and maybe some of the terminology. No, it's all very, very laid out, very understandable. And it's just, again, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, it's a 600-pound machine that is punching well above its weight.
Yes,
it's very, very versatile. It's on one hand, it's really, really easy to use. On the other hand, it's got the adjustability to be finely tuned to how you want it to behave. There isn't another machine like it on the market. I don't think there is.
No, not that I'm aware of either. Something real quick I'd like to say, and I just posted this picture a while back. I have too many detectors, really. I think right now I have 9 detectors, and I have no starter price range machines. They're all mid-range, higher mid-range and up. And I have 2 detectors right now that I can go out. I've got 3 dimes buried, 6, 8, and 10 inches. The 8-inch gives all of them an issue because I think when I filled the hole back in, it kind of pushed it on its side. Except the Rutus. The Rutus hits that 8-inch dime on its side really good. I can pick it up with another detector, a couple others. One okay, the other one I don't even think I dig it. But out of all my machines, I have 2 that'll go out there and nail that 10-inch dime, and the Rutus is one of them. And that's very impressive depth, everything. I know we didn't really discuss depth, so.
No, it's a deep machine. A 10-inch dime. I've got bags of coins here at the moment. I'm trying to work out what a dime is. What sort of size?
Yeah, I don't know the size of your guys. It's small. It'd sit on the end of your pointer finger. If you got a big finger like me, they're pretty small.
5 cents. Is it a 5 cents coin?
No, it's smaller than a nickel. It's even smaller.
Right. So, yeah, it's about the size of a 5 pence piece then.
Oh, a nickel. Your guys is 5 pence. Okay, maybe, yeah. You know, I think somebody told me that. Luke, I know Luke's still listening in, and what size is that? I think he's the one who told me what size a dime is. But yeah, they're thin, small coin. Honestly, I didn't expect anything to hit that 10-inch dime, but and not only will the Rutus, it just won't. I mean, you can sit there all day. I've tried different programs. That's not cranking it up unstable or anything. That's running it. Matter of fact, when I went out there, I turned it on. I think I was in the general program at stock 70 sensitivity, where it runs 70 is no issue to run in my area. Scotty Bay said, yeah, it's the size of a 5P. So there you go.
Yeah, it's. You say about the sensitivity at 70. We can run higher than that over here, and it's perfectly stable, no problem at all. It depends on where my head is. Sometimes I like the machine to be a bit sparky. Sometimes I like the machine to just run perfectly stable and not give me a headache. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the sensitivity takes care of that for me.
Well, I can in most places I can run higher than 70, stable, But I just mean when I turned it on, I went out there and I figured I'd have to hop up the sensitivity some, maybe change different programs. No, general 70, hit that coin 10 inches, no problems. But yeah, I will. Yeah, it'll run higher than that here as well. But that was just where I turned it on. It was at. So
yeah. What's the composition of a nickel?
They're
Sorry,
a copper clad coin. Scotty Bay said they're the size of a 5p but thinner, and it's a copper with a it's a copper. They call them copper clad. They're copper core with a thin layer of I don't know if it's silver or nickel now or what they use. They're pretty junk. I mean, they're no longer silver or anything, of course.
Yeah, nothing is. We've got a few coins over here that they're still copper and nickel, but yeah, the majority of the coins over here now, they're all steel. There's a steel core with a bit cladded over the top of it.
Yeah, but yeah, somebody said, Vincent said, we've got silver over here as small as a 9mm and thin as a paper, hard to find. Okay, we're wanting to wind this down, guys. Both of us, our throats are about had it. But I said to hold questions. If you have any questions for either one of us about the detector, or both of us, whatever, let us know now. If there's anything you're curious about, you want to know. I know Luke has really kept up in chat and Wyola answering some questions. So please, now's the time. So if you got any questions, post them in the chat and we'll try to get to them. I'm going to guess most were answered. I know Luke and Wyola was on it pretty good. I am losing my voice. You got me sick.
Right. I've been suffering all day. I was absolutely panicking that I was going to get to tonight and have no voice at all. I got home from work and just got my head down for an hour, and that helped. That helped a lot.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to go drink. Somebody said go drink a beer. Go grab a beer. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that after the show.
No. Beers. No, there's a guy on here, Vincent. He says Jägermeister. I'm with him.
I'm not a Jägermeister guy. Tastes like nasty cough medicine.
Yeah.
Well, I do, however, have some moonshine. Well, there you go, Wyola. I'll put some honey in my moonshine. How about that?
Oh. That's, you say Jägermeister's bad, and then you say you got the shine.
Well, you know what? It goes down rough, but it does the trick real quick. And that's when I've got a bad cold, that's what I usually do is I'm good for about 2 or 3 shots of moonshine. It'll instantly, I've got it so strong, it instantly makes snot pour out of your nose. It's rough for about 10 minutes and it gives you the shivers, but it does the job. It does. And I think Wyola's right. I'll put a little honey in that. That would be a great idea.
I think I'm going to combine the advice of Viola and Jacko. Joe says, have some honey. Jacko says, Jack Daniels. I've got a bottle of Jack Daniels honey downstairs.
Oh, that sounds delicious. That sounds delicious.
It's terrible stuff.
Is it?
You can't have just one.
Oh, yeah, that can be terrible, huh? I understand that. Yeah, actually, moonshine, what I do, people hate moonshine because they try to drink it straight. You mix it. My favorite way is with a lemon soda that we have. It's called Squirt. I don't know if you guys have it over there. Squirt, mix it with some Squirt, and it's beautiful. I don't get straight. It's too strong unless I'm sick, and then I'll just do a couple quick shots and get snot everywhere, and then I'm done. It does the trick. So I don't see that we have any questions, and so I think we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything you want to say, Richard? Or anything you want to end on?
No, there's a guy on here, Tim Levine, and he's saying maybe soon we'll get some field usage on the Rutus. Tim, whereabouts in the country are you? Let's see if you can come back on it, because maybe if he's reasonably local to me, maybe I can shift my machine over to him for a couple of weeks and let him have a play. He's saying that he used to build machines, and he's from what he's been saying on the chat here, he's designed and built PI machines. They're the easiest. He sounds like he knows his stuff. It might be interesting to throw a machine at him and get some feedback from him.
Yeah, Tim, I'm going to say if you've built detectors, you would love the Rutus. It is just so well thought out. I think at some point quickly you're going to look at it if you didn't even know, if you hadn't heard it on the show and go, this was built by somebody who understands our needs. Anybody that's thinking about buying one, you can't go wrong. I promise you, if you get one, reach out to me. Luke knows the detector. Obviously, Richard. I love hearing what others think about it, and nobody that I've turned on to a Rutus has been disappointed. They are incredible detectors, and I can't say enough about them, about their detectors, or the people. Viola and Eric are just fantastic people, and that's when you can buy something that you love from people that are genuine, good people, passionate about what they're doing, that you're doing. It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Jacko's just popped up and said you ain't got no news on a new Rutus release. I've got no news on a Rutus release, but the version 2.0 is almost ready to go. This has come from Eric, and what they're going to be aiming at. There's no guarantee that this is going to happen, but what they're going to be aiming at is that if you can get your machine into LoRa down at Detecnics, then they'll be offering the upgrade. So if you've got an existing machine, get the machine into LoRa, she should be able to do the upgrade onto the new software. So he said no. He said, when I said to him, well, can it not be done at home? He said, no, it's not got USB port. It'd have to either come back to us or go into LoRa. That's what they're aiming at. But as I say, there's no guarantee on it.
Tim said, would be nice to know what is in the software upgrade. Did you not? Okay, yeah. Wireless said it'll be on our Facebook page very soon, but we went through that. Unless he's asking something I'm not sure about, or that's kind of what we ended on here. Tim, is what will be in that new software upgrade. So
do you want to very quickly go through the list?
Yeah, if you don't mind, or I can if your throat's getting too bad. Whichever one.
No, I can run through quick. Okay, so the discrimination, the VDI discrimination, is going to be switchable between the existing 0 to 120 scale and between a new scale that will work on -90 to +90. Basically, it's to make transition from machines a bit easier, and it will also enable, in some ground compositions, to allow the machine to detect ceramics. The ground balance on the machine is, Luke's just put it up. The ground balance on the machine is going to have an audio indication to let you know that you've ground balanced properly. The volume of the wireless is going to be working independently of the programs. So rather than it being tied into each program is a set of settings for the wireless, it's going to be independently adjustable. The motion mode is going to be having the iron volume on it as well. So you'll be able to have the iron volume as it is now, or turn it down so the iron comes in a little bit quieter. Very important, you're going to have the ability to add 4 user programs onto it. At the moment, all you can do is adjust the existing programs. And then once you've adjusted the existing programs, that's it. It stays like that. But now you're going to be able to adjust the existing programs and then save them off as user programs. And there's going to be 4 slots available. Lastly, what I've got down here is at the moment, if you're out and you get a faint signal, the way Eric had it set up, or the way it's set up at the moment, is if you're out and you get a faint signal, the VDI and the sinograph, they don't react because the machine isn't 100% sure of the composition of the metal because it's a small signal, a faint signal. So that has been changed. So even on the faint signals, you're going to be getting a VDI, you're going to be getting a sinograph readout on it. So yeah, all very useful updates.
Yeah, Tim, I think it was Tim said it's bound to be improvements, but difficult to see where. I agree, because when I heard about this, I thought, how are they going to make it better? The only thing I had was the iron volume. But everything mentioned, it's like, ooh, I like that. Stuff I would have never thought about. The 4 user programs, that's brilliant. I'm really excited to try this different ID range. The ground balance, I mean, there was a quick workaround, but I agree for people newer to the hobby and needing that more turn on and go, that's a great thing. I mean, everything I think is just brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the only way. Well, the way that I like to sum the machine up is it's a machine that you can start with as a beginner, and the machine will grow with you. It's not a machine that you buy, you get used to it, and then you upgrade from. You buy, and it grows with you as you become more experienced in how the machine works. You'll be able to get more out of the machine. It's fantastic.
Yes, at just a crazy affordable price for this level of performance. To me, I think it's just crazy. Crazy how affordable this detector is. It's just amazing. So before we just lose our voices completely, let's end the show. I've really enjoyed this. I love getting into technical and talking detectors, and the Rutus being one of my all-time favorites. It's been a real pleasure for me, and I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a nice way to spend the evening, mate. It's really been nice talking to you.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I'm glad that it was you that got to do the show, and I'm really happy to meet you. And I've had such a good time on and off air talking to you, and the knowledge you have in metal detecting and stuff is fantastic. Been fantastic.
Well, it's just far too many years spent out in the fields.
Right, same here. I don't have as many as you though. You're the man. But it's just what you do in it. It's something that metal detecting, it just gets under your skin. And the thing is, over here with the rally scenes, it's not just the fact that you're going out and you're detecting on your own. You've also got the social side of it as well. And I've met so many fantastic people through detecting. Every single one of them is, I don't know if you'll know this term as well, every single one of them is an anorak. We are all anoraks. We all love what we do. Mm-hmm. And it's the best bunch of anoraks in the world. That's great. I agree, Richard. And it's been just a pleasure talking to you. Please keep in touch. I'd like to talk to you more. And anytime, I'd love to have chats with you about metal detecting. You're so knowledgeable, and I didn't want to get off the phone yesterday when we were talking. My little man started screaming, but I could just talk to you for hours on metal detecting. So anytime you're bored, sitting around having a drink, let me know. I'll talk with you.
You're unfortunate. I've got your contact details now.
Yes, anytime. I truly mean it. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I apologize for talking so much during this show. I would like to get you back on, excuse me, another time to just talk about your experiences and finds over the years. I mean, we didn't really have the time to go into all that, but I would love to have you on for all that.
Well, considering how we get looked at over here, I've never found anything.
You've never found? I find that hard to believe.
No, never found a thing. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm sure that's hard to believe. Richard, thank you so much. Thank you to the listeners. I hope everybody has a great evening.
Cheers, Mike. Good night, mate.
Good night, everybody.